Inbound lead generation strategies that fill your pipeline. Why inbound now determines who wins the deal. Inbound lead generation isn't extra credit anymore. It's the difference between owning your pipeline and chasing it. Today's B2B buyers are about 70% through their purchase journey before they ever talk to sales, and roughly 80% initiate first contact themselves, usually with the vendor they're already leaning toward. If we're not visible and useful during that pre-sales window, we're competing late with less leverage and with fewer shots on goal. That's why the goal of inbound isn't more traffic or a bigger email list. It's a steady flow of high-intent opportunities that sales can qualify and convert into meetings. When inbound is built correctly, it becomes a system. It captures demand that already exists, creates demand with education and proof, and routes the right prospects to the right next step. In this guide, we'll break down the inbound strategies that consistently fill B2B pipelines, the conversion mechanics that turn clicks into conversations, and the operating rhythm that prevents inbound leads from going cold. We'll also show where SalesHive fits when you want an execution partner that connects inbound demand capture directly to trained SDR follow-up. What inbound lead generation means in sales terms. In sales terms, inbound is any motion where the prospect raises their hand or shows clear intent. Demo requests, pricing inquiries, high-intent downloads, webinar registrations, and meaningful chat conversations. Outbound is when we initiate cold email, LinkedIn outreach, and work from a cold calling agency or autumn sales agency model. The key point is simple. Inbound leads come with context and urgency, and that changes how an SDR team should operate. Inbound also tends to be more efficient when it's executed well. Multiple datasets show inbound can reduce cost per lead by roughly 60% compared to outbound, while generating 50+% more leads, largely because content and search compound instead of resetting every week. That compounding effect matters for leadership because it turns pipeline generation from a campaign into an asset. The common mistake we see is treating inbound as purely marketing-owned and judging it on vanity metrics. Sales leaders should care about inbound because it affects speed to revenue, response times, qualification rates, meeting rates, and ultimately win rate. When inbound and outbound are run as separate worlds, teams end up with great top-of-funnel activity and thin pipeline. When they're connected, inbound becomes a prioritization engine for your entire revenue team. Choose the inbound channels that create sales-ready demand. You don't need a dozen channels to make inbound work. You need a small set that consistently drives high-intent traffic and gives prospects a clear path to raise their hand. For most B2B teams, that starts with content and SEO built around real buying problems, then accelerates with paid search to capture ready-now demand. This is where a modern B2B sales agency mindset helps. We build the funnel backward from meetings, not forward from impressions. Paid search is often the fastest lever when the business needs pipeline this quarter, because it targets active intent and can be tuned quickly. Benchmarks cited for inbound commonly put organic/paid inbound leads around $75 to $150 versus $200 to $500 for many outbound channels, which can change CAC math fast if conversion and follow-up are tight. Content and SEO then compound over time, giving you a growing base of demand capture that doesn't disappear when you reduce spend. The operational mistake is spreading effort too thin, posting everywhere, running broad ads and hoping it adds up. Instead, commit to a few inbound plays, define what sales ready means, and build the conversion and follow-up layers before you pour more traffic into the top. Build the conversion path, landing pages, offers, and routing. Inbound wins or dies on the landing page experience and the clarity of the next step. Benchmark data puts the median landing page conversion rate around 6.6%, while optimized B2B landing pages can average around 13.28%. If you're sitting at 2 to 3%, it's usually not a traffic problem. It's message match, friction, and a lack of systematic testing. A practical inbound page is single-purpose and built around intent. The promise in the ad or keyword should mirror the headline. The proof should sit close to the form, and the form should ask only what you need to route and respond. The most common mistake is sending high-intent clicks to a homepage or a generic Contact Us page, then wondering why conversion and meeting rates lag. Routing is part of conversion too. If a pricing request waits in a queue, your conversion rate is artificially inflated while your pipeline suffers. The handoff needs clear ownership and tooling. Lead source, offer, and intent signals should flow into your CRM, and an SDR workflow should trigger immediately, so the prospect experiences momentum, not delay. Inbound isn't a marketing project. It's a sales system that starts before the first conversation. Speed to lead, the inbound KPI most teams underestimate. Inbound only pays off if sales responds fast. Teams that contact inbound leads within 5 minutes are reported to be 8 to 21 times more likely to qualify and convert than teams that wait. That's not a minor optimization. It's the difference between inbound is working and inbound is expensive. This is where process beats good intentions. Define a service-level agreement between marketing and sales. Set clear routing rules, who owns demo requests, who owns content downloads, and what triggers immediate outreach. And build a tight first-touch sequence that reflects the offer they engaged with. When you treat all inbound leads the same, you either spam low-intent contacts or underserve the highest-intent ones. At SalesHive, we're built for this moment. We connect inbound demand capture to rapid SDR follow-up so leads don't stall. As an SDR agency with sales outsourcing options, US-based and Philippines-based SDR teams, we handle qualification, appointment setting, and calendar management so your AEs can focus on closing while your inbound engine keeps converting interest into meetings. Nurture the majority who aren't ready yet without losing them. Even when inbound is strong, most visitors won't convert on the first session, and that's normal. Buyers often experience many touches before they decide, with some research citing roughly 27 touch points across content, peers, and vendor interactions. Your job is to stay present and helpful until intent spikes. Then make the next step obvious. Segmented nurturing matters because it keeps your messaging aligned to the problem they're trying to solve. Data cited on inbound performance shows targeted nurturing can lift sales opportunities by 20% plus, which is exactly how you close the gap between "we have traffic" and "we have pipeline." The mistake is blasting the same sequence to every lead and calling it nurture. It trains prospects to ignore you. A clean approach is to build nurture paths tied to the asset or page they engaged with. Then reinforce that messaging across email and social. Done right, this also supports outbound. Your cold email agency or LinkedIn outreach services perform better when your brand already feels familiar. And your SDRs can reference content the buyer actually consumed rather than sending generic follow-ups. Align inbound and outbound, so SDRs always know who to call next. The best performing teams don't treat inbound and outbound as competing channels. They connect them. When sales and marketing align around a shared inbound funnel, reported outcomes include up to 32% higher revenue and 38% higher win rates compared to misaligned teams. That alignment shows up in practical ways: shared definitions, shared dashboards, and shared accountability for conversion from lead to meeting to pipeline. This is also where outbound gets smarter. Instead of asking a cold calling team to dial a flat list, we use inbound signals to prioritize accounts. Who visited pricing? Who attended a webinar? Who returned twice in a week? Tailor talk tracks and time outreach when interest is highest. That turns traditional B2B cold calling services into warm, relevant conversations and makes your best cold calling services feel less like interruption and more like help. At SalesHive, we pair inbound with outbound execution when it increases efficiency. List building services to expand buying committee coverage, cold calling services to reach decision makers who won't fill out forms, and personalized outbound sequences that reflect what the account has already shown interest in. The result is a single operating system where inbound creates intent signals and outbound converts them into meetings faster. What to do next? A simple plan to make inbound predictable. If you want inbound to fill your pipeline, start by tightening the system before expanding the channel mix. Audit your highest intent entry points: demo, pricing, contact sales. Confirm you can respond in minutes, and make sure every paid search click lands on a page with one clear offer and one clear outcome. Most teams don't need more tactics. They need fewer leaks. Then commit to an operating cadence: weekly landing page and ad message reviews, monthly conversion testing, and a shared scoreboard that tracks speed to lead, qualification rate, meeting rate, and pipeline created by source. The biggest common mistake is measuring inbound on traffic and MQL volume, while sales measures meetings and revenue. When those aren't connected, the team optimizes in opposite directions. If you'd rather not build every piece in-house, our team at SalesHive can bolt on the execution quickly, from B2B advertising and landing page optimization to SDR follow-up and full sales outsourcing support. Whether you're looking to hire SDRs internally or use an outsourced sales team to move faster, the North Star stays the same: capture intent early, convert it cleanly, and follow up fast enough to win the conversation.